Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to another episode of The Crossroads. I am your host, Rashida Green, and this is the show for and about environmental justice and those who fight the fight with skin as melanated as the days are long. Knowledge is power, and we are breaking down stereotypes, one episode at a time. Hello. Welcome. I hope you're ready. This episode is going to be short and to the point because all I am going to do is give you an idea of what you can expect from the podcast this season. Now, I'm leaving a lot of room open for things to just happen. I was very fortunate since I started this show to have guests really just reveal themselves. I really did very little digging to find people. They really found me. Some people I've had to reach out to and things of that nature, but in general, it's all just kind of shown up exactly on time, or the right webinar, or the right word all the time. I'm really grateful to the community I have that actually supports me when it comes to content, either volunteering to be on the show or being voluntold in some people's cases, and just deciding and making a conscious decision to support me. So I guess that's sort of my flowers. I didn't even get into giving flowers yet. I have someone, but I realized that in just sort of telling that or giving that explanation that I'm giving flowers to the community that supports me. Yes, without their support, I don't know where I would be as far as just the knowledge. And I really just appreciate that. So I am going to leave things open to chance to see what's going to happen. But I decided that I wanted to really put some intention around this season, and that I wanted to give you all an idea of what I plan to cover. And still, as I said, giving room for things to shift. I was not planning to really cover the coronavirus at all, among other things. And that was a pivot that was made. And, I've tried to keep it involved. I definitely, we talked about it a lot last season, but, and we'll probably continue to do something along those lines as well. But yeah, just wanted to come on today with you guys and give you all some idea of what you can expect. So I actually did have someone that I wanted to give flowers to, and that person is Zora Neale Hurston. Now, I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods with this weather, but it took a very steep dive into the heated blanket time. Not yet. If I'd put a heated blanket on the bed, I'd probably get a headache or like sweat to death. So the temperature took a huge dive, and it's putting me in the mood for what I like to call spooky season. And I happened to find that Zora wrote a collection of horror stories. And I'm starting to read horror. I know that sounds insane because I've been watching it pretty much my entire life and not really read so much of it. So now that I'm really starting to, I'm just always glad to see a black woman or black person, period. There are black men who are writing horror. Victor Lavelle, for instance. There's just it's nice to see it. So it's called The Skull Talks Back. It's a very, very short collection, maybe like 5 or 6 stories, and it's flash fiction, super short, not long or anything like that, and not overly graphic or gory. I don't know, depending on what your horror bag is. But yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Zora Neale Hurston anyway. Like I am a huge fan of hers. So I thought, why not add to the collection and read this book as well. So giving flowers to her. So let's get into what I'm planning to talk about for this season. So the major categories, as I'm seeing them right now: food, biodiversity, socioeconomic issues, which it's a pretty big blanket. I mean, so's food. Anyway, police abolition, and politics. Now, the politics piece I'll start with first because it actually segues quite nicely into some future projects that I do already have coming down the pike. So I'm going to be a guest on the Independent Thought podcast hosted by Desmond, and we are going to be splitting up a couple episodes where we're really going to talk about the popular vote and the Electoral College. I know that there is a lot of information, and the perspective that we're going to take on these issues is not going to be a little bit. It's going to be specific to where we live, and also nationally. We're going to have a very rich conversation. So you be on the lookout for that. And then he will be coming on my show, and we'll be doing a part 2 of our discussion. So we're also, of course, I'm going to be talking more and more about environmental law, getting into that, and continuing to talk about local elections. What's going on in the state of Maryland. I'm going to be covering, if I see things that are going on, or folks are, telling me about elections that they really think are important that they'd like me to push. Definitely going to do that. And no specification as far as party. If it's a person that's got a progressive agenda, I'm with it. I need to see it. You need to show me how you've done it before or how you were planning to do it. And I don't care this is not a party specific platform. So we're going to be really exploring who can do the best job. Obviously, I think police abolition low-key speaks for itself. I mean, we started a pretty interesting conversation last season when it came to mass incarceration and also the horrible things that have been going on that we've had to be confined in our homes and watch recently. And so I want to talk a lot more about police abolition and how that would look, and really thinking about my own personal future thought. What am I thinking about, and wanting to hear your ideas as well, because this show, in addition to being sex positive, to being LGBTQ plus friendly, human friendly, whales friendly, this show is also progressive. So I want to think and act in community, and I want to do that in a progressive fashion. So I want to know what you all think. So I definitely want to have more interaction and more engagement, because the only way we are going to get to the solutions that are going to work for us is if we do it together. We see what happens when it's only a few of us. We see how that works, and it's not working, right? So we got to think about things on a larger scale. And speaking of larger scale, I want to talk about more global impact. I've started to do that, and I really want to take it to the next level and really enriching the conversation or conversations about how a specific environmental issue has a global impact. Because we can't just talk about one thing, we can't just talk about the water issues anywhere. You can't think about any of these things without thinking about the fact that, and knowing the fact that water travels. So definitely want to expand that. And getting into what I mentioned about socioeconomic, just some general ideas that I'm thinking of really tackling is, as I mentioned before, I'm still looking to have a book discussion about medical apartheid. Now, I'm going to be honest. your girl is loaded, okay? I've got a lot of things going on. So, truth be told, this book discussion may not happen until December. So, no rush. Because I'm still in grad school. I keep acting like I'm a free bird and I am not. So, look, get go on ahead and like just set aside. I think the book's like, I think it's like $14 or so. Or, you know what you can do? You can support your local bookstore, and there are Black-owned bookstores. Shout out to Loyalty Books, Black woman-owned bookstore in Maryland. Yeah, you could always order a copy of Medical Apartheid and just keep it somewhere safe until probably December, if we're being honest. But that's not. But again, I definitely want to tackle that. I want to tackle just certain aspects of the medical industry. So definitely want to talk about those things, and also some of the barriers that COVID's created or will perpetuate. Be interesting to kind of see how that unfolds, especially as things are opening back up. I got a phone call today from the Mac store, so they told me to come on down. You know, they miss me, want to see me and such. So we're definitely going to have to talk about, you know, how that's going to shift and change, especially as we're I assume going back to some level of normalcy. And I also want to have a discussion about biodiversity. I've talked about it, and I think it's about time to get into some sustainability basics. And I think biodiversity will be a great place to do that. So we're gonna talk a lot about that. I definitely, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I definitely like to talk that talk when it comes to the science. So I'm hoping that I'm not the only one that just like likes to get real nerdy. I'd like to get real deep in my nerd. So biodiversity will be on the menu. And last is food. Now, I've got some very specific ideas for food because I have talked a lot about agriculture on this show. I mean, even if you go back and listen to Earth School with Ibrahima, you know, talking about like farm to table, just at the farm, at the Licking Creek Bend farm, I've hit agriculture, but I've hit it from different points, from a healing and community building aspect, from a sustainable practice of the farm. Licking Creek is a sustainable farm, how they do that, and their successes with it and their challenges as well. And also, they also brought us some socioeconomic ideas as well. I've talked to people who work directly in food service. So there's a lot of different areas that I've hit, and I kind of want to get a little bit more specific and use case study episodes to address some things, some nuances, and some issues with food. And yes, I'm definitely going to mildly recommend that maybe y'all go eat more vegetables. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, and I just got into it with somebody's on Twitter making candy corn fried chicken. I know y'all are bored. I know you are. I know it. I see it. I'm bored. I mean, I'm not bored. I mean, I get it. I still check my feed. You know, I'm trying to engage as much as I possibly can, which is probably peanuts compared to some people. But, you know, I see. And, you know, I just candy corn fried chicken. So, and the thing is, recently I discovered pickling. Like, a voice said to me, you should start pickling. And I said, oh, okay, all right, sure. You know, I usually, when a voice that said, not like crazy, but usually when something suggests to me, I assume it's my ancestors making suggestions like, hey, do this. I just do it. They do the same thing with TV shows. Sometimes I'll be, you know, like Acrimony, for instance, no shade. But a voice was just like, no. And I said, thank you. And I went on about my life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how she got on that boat, and I don't need to know or care because I've never seen it. Anywho, so those are the major subjects that I want to cover. You know, I really want to continue to have this platform with everyone. I've enjoyed what I've put out so far, and I can tell from the responses that I get from the listens and everything that you all think so too, and that's great, and that's the reward. So in keeping in line with that and wanting to continue with that, I definitely also want to make sure that we're also talking about more solutions, more things that people can do in their communities to achieve a common goal, right? So if you have ideas, if you have things that are going on in your neighborhood that you want to amplify, or you want an idea of how or what to do to rectify it, let me know. We can do some research. I am not shy about research. I think everybody needs to do their research. No matter what your interest in. You know, no one should be able to touch you. You should know your stuff. So I try to do the same thing on this show. I try to come on and give you all the best that I can. So I want to continue that. And I appreciate all of you for listening. And please stay tuned. See, this was good and short. This is a miracle. This is like less than 20 minutes. Wow. Okay, so I'm not going to do what I think I'm probably going to do, which is to babble until it's 20 minutes. Okay. Every single episode of The Crossroads is available on all platforms. Please visit my website, allroadscross.com. If anyone just so happens to be a blogger and would like to write content for my website, of course it'd have to be about environmental justice or environmental science or a social justice movement or something along those lines. But I'm just going to put it out there that if there are bloggers who want to get some shine or just even amplify their message, also let me know. Because you see what we're doing here? We're building an ecosystem. This is how you community build. Okay? Now, with that being said, thank you for tuning in to another episode, and I will see you at the crossroads.